Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle the Irishman Morrow, and welcome to Nobody's Listening. We have a video game show for you guys tonight, and it is going to be fun and exciting, just like video games.
Maybe a little traumatizing.
On some notion, yeah.
We may get a little angry
at one another, but that's just stress. We don't stress around here.
I stole his water.
Anyway,
oh, boy, Grip, grab me my water.
Boy, Grip.
Boy,
What?
Grip.
Come on.
Boy.
Come on.
Boy.
It's okay. Nobody's.
Where's my water,
Smile for
boy?
the camera.
Where's my boy? Where's my water, boy? Yep.
We actually have people on standby.
We have a single member of staff.
Yeah, a single member.
Unpaid.
Interns.
Yeah, interns.
Gotta love interns.
Internmanship.
You get a tax write-off, though.
But we don't do taxes. So
I guess you get nothing.
Shh, the IRS is listening.
Oh, God. Shh. Anyway, so today we're actually going to talk about different items on video games today. I know I'm doing horrible at the start. Give me a second. I got to warm up. Anyway, actually, the first conversation we're actually going to talk about is emulators versus hardware. Hardware! So apparently, Nintendo is suing people for making emulators. And
emulators or ROMs?
ROMs.
Well, ROMs, but you know what I'm
ripping
saying.
ROMs.
Yeah, for ripping ROMs. And
emulators are legal under a corporate precinct from back when Sony tried to, back during the PlayStation.
I mean,
era.
do y'all really think that this should be done? Do you think that Nintendo should sue people over stuff like this? Because I mean, they're fanboys. That's where their bread and butter is.
No,
actually
for this
getting
reason.
people.
For this reason, a lot of the ROMs are, of course, NES, Famicom, Super NES, Super Famicom, 64, GameCube,
Dreamcast.
I'm talking about from a Nintendo's perspective, but yeah, Dreamcast. Yeah. But especially the NES and SNES, and now starting with the N64, the hardware is getting old. It will eventually fail, including the cartridges, and they are not going to release their entire library on some sort of digital format. And there are a lot of good games that they're not going to release.
Yeah.
But I mean, what if you are a fan to, you know, actually collecting the systems, actually collecting the games, and, you know, just being a part of that group of people? Do you not think that maybe this will take away from the fanboy situation?
No, I mean, I like the ROMs and the emulators. I like doing that because I'm cheap.
But then keep in mind, you have ones like me and Andrew that have a extensive, authentic game collection.
See, that's what
it's cool when you walk in there and their entire game
we have every
collection.
Nintendo console made,
right?
Minus the Wii U, which we're still debating.
Well, we also don't have a Virtual Boy yet.
It's the Wii U. But as far as the consoles, we have them. We have a nice collection of the games for them. But at the same time, there are still some that are either prohibitively expensive to find because
of extremely hard to find.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's go with something like the World Tournament ones. They have little cartridges.
Yeah. Isn't there
Hi.
like way
In
up
the millions?
And, yeah.
Because they're extensively rare.
Oh, come on.
Well,
Even though you can't get a couple of million to just...
I know, right?
He's so passionate about it. He can't
I'm so mad. I'm so angry.
Yeah.
I didn't win the Mega Millions, okay?
But at the same
By
time,
the way, whoever won, screw you.
No, we love you.
Yeah.
we love you. Be our uncle.
It was an 83-year-old
When we get our
woman. I don't
Patreon
think
up,
she's
we
on
expect
YouTube.
you to be the first
It
one.
was a who?
It was an 83-year-old woman in South Carolina.
Sugar
Grandma!
Sugar mama.
Need a sugar mama just for my gaming habits in the TV show.
I need a sugar mama so I can buy my wife a new vehicle.
But I mean, to me, I get why they're suing people. I understand it. And in a way, I kind of respect it. But at the same time, I'm seeing I see it hurting them in the long run more than anything. And that's just my opinion. To me, I mean, like, you know, I grew up on Nintendo 64. I love the Nintendo 64. I played the others, don't get me wrong. I grew up playing those others, but the very first system that I personally bought, that I spent my own money, that I worked hard for to gain, was an N64.
That was me too. The first one I bought myself.
Yeah, and I busted my tail for an entire summer to get this system. And I would like to go back and play these games. And I'd still have my Nintendo 64, but, you know, like James was saying earlier, eventually the age is going to get to it.
Hardware's going to die.
And I'm not going to be able to play those games that I grew up playing, you know, like Spider-Man, Mario Kart, Super Mario Bros., and GoldenEye, and several other games that I grew up playing.
Yeah. Well, they got to where they wanted to start suing individuals when they started releasing their classic systems.
Right.
So, but even though that's not their whole library.
Nowhere near.
No.
Nowhere near the entire library.
Yeah, it's 20 games per classic edition?
Yeah.
Out of a library of, 1,000 for the NES?
Easily.
2,000? I mean, if you count all the random games they did, even the, God knows, LJN.
Yeah, even LJN games.
There are some of them that wouldn't be bad. I mean, okay, a good example. One of the games for the 64, I'm sure all four of us have played many times, was Donkey Kong 64.
Oh, yes.
Right.
But here's the better question. Who in this room has beat it on the console?
I haven't.
You couldn't.
Really?
There was a glitch in the game, and 99% of the time you came across this glitch, and it made the game unbeatable.
Whereas now,
thanks to emulations and someone actually going in and fixing the bug, I've beaten it. I got to see the ending the way it was on the cart, but
don't ruin it for people.
You couldn't access it because of a glitch. But thanks to an open source community who said, hey, let's fix this bug. Let's get it right. They went in.
Oh, there's several games that they
said, okay, where's the issue? They took it apart and they went, okay, here's the bug. Patched. Right. Okay, here you go, folks. Donkey Kong 64, now beatable. Yeah. 100% of the time. If you played the game through, you were going to beat it.
See, I never knew that it was unbeatable. But that was before
it was one
internet.
Of those oddball 99% of the time bugs.
Yeah.
But 99% of the time of the bug made it to where most people saw it as unbeatable, including my poor father-in-law, who, God bless him, he liked Donkey. He loved Donkey Kong 64. One of the few games I've ever heard of him actually trying to beat, and he couldn't do it because of the bug.
Huh.
I honestly think that's.
I mean, what do you think, Andrew? Do you think this is a good thing, or do you think this will hurt Nintendo in the end?
I think it'll hurt Nintendo in the end. The thing is about all these ROM sites is it's historical preservation.
Yep.
Because once stuff hits the server networks, it's going to be there for a long time, unless, God forbid, there's a giant EMP pulse that wipes out humanity.
Well,
and then you look
and
into
at that time, we're not worried about games.
Yeah, we're really not worried about games.
Well, what about our poor folks that'll survive in the bunkers?
Well, I think we'll be working
That's for later in the segments.
We'll talk about that later.
But one of the big things to me is he was saying, talking about preservation. There actually is a law on the books for historic preservation of older software.
Right.
That states, and this is the really layman's term of saying it because it was complex as hell. The basic way it came off to me is any software program made for a system that is no longer, and of course, it was referring to computers, but games, computers, potato to me. I mean, it's all zeros and ones. Any piece of software that was designed for our system that is no longer currently being produced and readily available falls under historic preservation. To me, that's what all these ROMs should fall under. I mean, they're not making original NESs anymore. They're not making the original SNESs. The original hardware for these original games should be open and free.
Well, the question is, though, are the ROM cartridges technically software, considering they are wrote to read-only memory?
But they were on.
It's still software, though. They're being read.
That's where you have one of those questionable points.
That is true. I mean, do you consider it? I mean, what would you think about this? And also, do you think that Nintendo is hurting themselves with this? Do you think that it's going to damage their reputation? Because we all know Nintendo to be that fun, lovable company that creates these fun characters that we enjoy playing.
Nintendo hasn't been good since the GameCube.
No, the
GameCube
wonderful.
is terrible.
The GameCube was really.
I hated the GameCube. I hated it.
Amazing.
I hated it. Nintendo 64 was one of the last ones they ever did, and now Switch has come out, and I really like that.
Honestly, I think the GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox and Dreamcast was the greatest generation of consoles, as far as their libraries and what they had on them.
What they could do.
Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Rogue Squadron.
All right. Now this is where I have to. I need the original hardware. For whatever reason, they have not been able to get Rogue Squadron to emulate correctly. And in order to play it, you need to have the original hardware because it does not emulate right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of games that on less powerful computers don't emulate right. I've got that computer there and tried to play some of those games. I mean, and it's a powerful computer, and it still just barely pulls it off because of some crap they've done with their coding, with their 3D coding, rendering, whatever.
Well, it's probably a double chip or something.
Maybe
it was the butter.
It was the butter.
I told you to stop.
I mean, to me, I hate that Nintendo is actually doing this. I hate that Nintendo has. They're killing their reputation. The more and more they sue people doing this, I don't like this look. I don't like this look. It's like for years and years and years, Nintendo to me was Mario, the hero of the gaming world.
Right.
And maybe it was because I was younger and dumber back then, but as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize that Nintendo is kind of like Bowser.
I just hope Sony and Sega don't do this, because the Sega CD, Saturn, and original PlayStation games, the discs are rotting. Literally, they are decaying actively and starting to fail.
So this would be a great way to preserve it.
See, I like emulation for older games up to N64. And my argument, is the hardware is getting older. I thought that after that, it's still new enough that it would be worth it to buy the actual hardware. And it's already going to work. You're not going to have these funky system requirements that just barely runs it.
Yeah.
Because ROMs are notorious for being stupid sometimes. On the newer, more advanced, the ones with all the 3D graphics.
The biggest problem we're going to come across,
32, 64-bit, they seem to do good.
The biggest problem, like he pointed out, though, in the next 20 years, all the current gen systems, you're going to have CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays starting to fail because they do degrade over time.
Well, the Blu-ray and DVD, they actually did put standard in to help keep decay from happening, while CD, it was kind of a free-for-all except for the format itself.
So how is it decaying? It's
literally rotting.
Is the plastic rotting?
Yes.
That's why if you do have old disc games, you need to put them somewhere nice, cool, tucked away in a really dark place when you're not using them, because any light
my apartment
can destroy.
No, your apartment's too wet.
Yeah, you want dry. You want dark and dry.
So in order to preserve these games in their original systems, you're going to have access to a climate-controlled room.
Pretty much.
Humidity control.
Or an old salt mine.
Yeah. Something's just going to suck all the
I don't know. To me, this just kind of feels like Nintendo's shooting themselves in the foot for no damn reason.
I think they are shooting themselves in the foot. I would love to have all the systems and stuff like that stacked up.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
It's really expensive. It gets expensive. It gets very expensive.
Have a nice display that has the color changing, movement.
Then you have
big screen TV.
The rubber buttons starting to fail, so you have to spend more money to get refurb or replacements or
who remembers the joysticks from the 64s?
Reproduction rubbers.
The way they failed.
Right.
But they were comfortable.
At the same time, there is a way to replace them fairly cheap.
Oh, there's a company
out of the GameCube controllers actually work with the N64, and they have a better.
Or you can just buy Yobo.
Yeah, in the emulation world, you have got. There are companies that make brand new chipsets. You take apart your old controller, you put this new one in it. You may have to do a little bit of modding to the controller's case, but
it comes out USB.
You take that, USB or wireless.
Yeah. I've seen
wireless. Those are really cool. And there's an HDMI adapter for GameCube. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because I've got two things for another subject.
I like how Andrew put N64 emulation sucks.
It does. There's only a handful of games that work so. And it's not the ones that people really want to play.
Shoot, I wrote that thing right big enough I could read it from here.
Yeah, see?
N64 emulation sucks.
So,
and
Which I wonder how they're going to manage that with the N64 Mini, because if it's that hard to emulate, how are they going to do it?
Oh, God.
That's going to be horrible.
I just wonder if they're going to, Microsoft is going to let Rare patch Donkey Kong 64.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. They should.
Because Rare is now owned by Microsoft, not Nintendo.
Ooh.
Rare's
so
not their own company.
Microsoft has a Nintendo title under its belt?
They own the company Rare now.
Okay,
Rare Games.
Rare Games.
And Rare Games is the one that made Donkey Kong, Banjo-Kazooie too.
Banjo-Kazooie.
And Tooie. So are the three big ones for the N64, three of the bigger titles going to come over? Or
that a lot of people actually are going to remember and want to
Conker's Bad Fur Day making it to the menu.
Why not?
I don't know. PlayStation's putting Resident Evil on theirs.
Yes, but that's Sony. Sony's known for edgy. Nintendo's one of those that always wants to play it safe.
Nintendo's been playing it. That's what's wrong with them.
Nintendo.
That's why they're attacking people now. They're losing money because people would rather.
Well, it's because
people would rather play their old games than their new shit.
Because the generation has changed. In my opinion, the generation has changed. Because when we grew up with Mario, we grew up with Donkey Kong, we grew up with these games, and we're older now. And every now and again, we want to get a little violent in our video games. I don't, you can't do it in society, so why not on the screen? Why not on the television?
You could in society, but you get in trouble.
It's frowned upon, okay?
Wasted and busted lean either dead or might as well be dead.
No. This every now and again, you've got to get a little rough and tumble, and in a video game, and Mario jumping on top of some little poor turtle that was just walking down the road.
Animal abuse
is not something that is going to fix that issue.
They weren't innocent.
Just because in Mario Odyssey essentially possesses the other characters, which is
it just me, or did anybody ever notice with the original Mario when he finally gets Yoshi and he rides up on it to get it to stick its tongue out, he actually punches it in the head?
You actually hear the little...
Yeah, you actually hear the boop.
So he has to give Yoshi a donkey punch?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what somebody who raised you.
I mean, that just kind of seems heartless, and then at the same time, you use him to toss over yourself over a ledge to make it to the other end.
Like, bye, Yoshi!
And Yoshi's like...
Nah, Yoshi's probably like, well, at least he wasn't crying this time.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I just realized that I still had our title card up till just a minute ago.
Well, everybody should know our names by now.
I know. Just make sure that it's
skipped our intro anyway,
I completely skipped our intro, but
we'll catch it at the end.
Yeah. To me,
we're still getting going.
We're still getting,
and it's been one of those weeks.
It has been a terrible.
We've had a horrible week.
We're
shooting late. We usually shoot on Friday, do it Saturday, upload it, and it's ready to go by Monday morning.
And
we are.
It's Saturday now.
Late Saturday
afternoon.
Like, yeah, late Saturday afternoon.
Almost evening. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and just go on to our second subject. So apparently, PlayStation is putting out a classic.
Yeah, he mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, he mentioned that earlier. So, do you think it's worth it? Considering the other systems that have come out, granted, they've been Nintendo, but now Sony is doing it.
What games are they looking at putting on? Because I honestly have not looked at the actual... I know you got the list.
I have the game list right here.
Give me a highlight of ones I would play. I'll put it like that.
I'm just going to go down the list. Let's just go down the list just slightly, and then we'll stop somewhere kind of down here in the middle. So, just for example, we have Battle Arena. We have Cool Border 2. We have Destruction Derby. We have Final Fantasy VII, which I know a lot of people are going to jump on that just for that alone.
Now that would be worth it.
Also, the next one, Grand Theft Auto, I'm actually interested in because I never got to play the original.
Which one?
The original.
It's the original.
Like top-down 2D?
Yes, the old school. Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid.
Okay, now we got another good one.
Yeah, see, we got another great one.
But if you're buying it just for Metal Gear Solid,
Final Fantasy and Metal Gear Solid is enough to sell me.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, you can buy a PlayStation and buy those two games with the memory stick, two controllers, and come out $50 a head.
or I can get all these extra fun games that might be interesting to play.
And come out nearly
for
300 or 400.
Okay.
They got.
We have Mr. Driller. We have Odd World. Then we have Rayman, another good one that's actually well known.
Now, Odd World was a good one too.
See, I didn't know
It just wasn't
Odd World.
as well known.
Resident Evil.
Which one?
Doesn't say.
The first one.
So I'm assuming the original.
The one that's come out for the PS2, the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4.
See, these last three right here also, well, the last four I definitely know.
Which ones?
And we have Tekken 3. Then we have Rainbow Six, which I love Rainbow Six. I'm a huge Rainbow Six fan. I love Tom Clancy. Then you have Twisted Metal.
Oh, now that would be a good one.
And then Wild Arms as well. And that's just some of them. That's not all of them.
What is the, say you're buying it just for those 4 games, what is the retail cost of the classic system?
Well,
$100.
Yeah, it's about $100.
So if you were buying it just for the handful of games that he mentioned, you come out at even, because you know more about the play. I never owned a PlayStation.
Well, I had the price list on there.
Well,
so
see, this is saying about $100, but
compared to what was that, 260 he had right now?
Yeah, it was like 260. Yeah, it's about 263 and 48 cents.
The issue there though is a lot of places you look for old used systems, you're either going to find them really cheap, like wonderful deal, or they're going to be way overpriced.
Yeah,
like,
that's average mean.
You go to the wrong place, and Final Fantasy VII, he's got it listed for how much that the average cost?
Let's see, Final Fantasy
1360.
Yeah, about 1360.
You're liable to see that. You might get lucky. Go to a little flea market and find all. If you get lucky enough to find all the discs,
and they don't know what they
you
have.
might find it for $10.
Yeah.
But you might go to a collection store and see it for $50, $60.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind that'd be case, the game's all in mint condition, no scratches. You know, it might be $100 just because the name involved.
That's my opinion.
In this case, owning the hardware would be worth it. This hardware, the system, the classic system.
To me, I kind of like the idea of the classic because I don't have to have space for games because this is already preloaded.
Mm-hmm.
So that's already a positive.
Doesn't it also have a place where you can plug in an SD or hook up? Yeah, put in an SD card.
Not that I saw listed.
Okay, there was one of them that had a expandable memory.
The Sega one did.
The Sega one did.
Yeah. From At Games.
Okay.
Which kind of falls into line with...
They, believe it or not, still make Genesis and just finally stopped making the Master System last year.
Why?
For Brazil.
Brazil?
Yeah, Brazil actually loved the Sega Master System in Genesis.
So they just kept making it for that long?
They kept making it.
They kept making them for nearly 20, 30 years.
It just won't be in English.
Actually, the Master System has no international lockout.
Yeah. You make a trip to Brazil, buy you a Master System, bring it home, hook it up, and go.
As long as you want to spend the money to go to Brazil.
Well, if you're going down there, why not?
Of course,
or you can probably hire somebody down there and be like, "Hey, can you
buy
go pick me up one?" And
of course, all the Genesis games that are on the Master System are actually the Game Gear ports where you put into a different cart.
Okay.
Which means the screens are going to be wonky.
I mean, I remember playing Destruction Derby.
Actually,
the Destruction Derby game actually on the Nintendo 64. Me and my brother actually used to play this quite frequently. It was just, it was a good way to get aggression out.
That was actually one of the few games I actually preferred the PlayStation version over the Nintendo 64.
See, I never got to play the PlayStation version.
Now, say like the Sergeant's Heroes games, Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Because the PlayStation game, even though it had more content, the graphics were terrible.
One of the ones I remember me and my cousin playing a lot on the PlayStation was Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
That darn ice cream truck from hell.
Yes.
I mean, the second I say that, most people that are watching this that went, Twisted Metal, it's like, ice cream truck from hell. It's like, nightmares.
Sweet Tooth.
Yes.
I loved Sweet Tooth. He was an awesome character. And it's still, honestly, to me, is kind of one of those key characters that you think of when you think PlayStation.
Yeah.
And it's like Metal Gear Solid, Cloud, and then Sweet Tooth.
Well, two of the main ones that I think of when you mention the original PlayStation aren't on here. Spyro and Crash.
True.
Crash Bandicoot.
That is a good
The
point.
whole campaign of Crash Bandicoot with the PlayStation and its library standing in front of the Nintendo headquarters of Seattle.
Yeah.
To me, it felt like they were trying to copy Nintendo.
They were trying to have their...
Spyro was different, though. Spyro itself, on its own, not counting Crash, was a lot different from any of the other games that I played.
They were trying to have their lovable mascot that had adventures along the same lines of Mario.
The thing that would have cemented me getting one, which I'm not saying I ain't going to get one, but the thing that would have really made me like, I need to pre-order this, would have been seeing Spyro.
Well, the reason they're not going to do that is because they actually are working on a new Spyro game.
See, that just, to me, makes more sense to...
remastering.
Yeah, but remember the Spyro game for the GameCube?
It doesn't.
Nobody remembers it because it was bad compared to the PlayStation 1.
Well, I mean, they're redoing Spyro, and they're going to release them out for the PS4, and it's the same levels, and I'm hoping they're going to do exactly like they did with the Crash Bandicoot version that they released not too long ago.
Updated
graphics, better sound. It's going to have all this stuff, but they also released a level that they originally started working on and chose not to do it because it was too hard.
Now that could be fun.
And they released it out with this game. So you're going to get that kind of backstory that if you ever had a question with the character, it was like, wait, what? Now it kind of fixes some stuff.
There is one thing I wish they would have done. Would have been put all the Grand Theft Auto games for PlayStation and all 4 of the Resident Evils for the PlayStation. Yeah. Even the crappy Resident Evil Survivor.
Well, I mean, you know what? Grand Theft Auto, the best one. I would love to see the story from the start. Because if I'm not mistaken, Grand Theft Auto was supposed to be a racing game. Something along the lines of Burnout.
No, you had missions, but it was a top view.
Yeah,
I know that.
And you got your missions from a payphone.
Yeah, from an actual payphone. And nobody knows what payphones are anymore.
I do.
Well, we do because we're old.
Hey, it's only 7 miles to payphone that still works.
You know how to use a payphone? Have you ever had to use
Do you know how to make a collect call? There you go.
They'll walk you through it.
We lost the, what is it, 19?
Yeah, you're 19? Yeah.
Yeah, we lost the 19-year-old the second we said collect call. It's like a what?
All
right, time for the middle segment.
I have one more thing to add.
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay, one more. I'm going to take a step back.
Okay, that's fine.
Talking about emulation versus owning the systems.
No, well, we were pretty much in the same subject, but yeah.
Arcade games.
Okay.
There is no way that you can have that personal library in your own man cave unless you can.
And some of those arcade games, just the big carts that went into them are hundreds, if not thousands of dollars just for the cart.
And that's if you don't have to restore them.
As if you don't have to fix them.
Yeah.
You can build a $150, $200 computer, load up RetroPie or Big Box or Launch Box or with Big Box. And you've got them all right there. Yeah. You've got them all right there. There's no way that you will be able to have every single one of those arcade. And some arcade games are just not worth it at all to even have on your system. But you can have them all right there. You can build your little setup and they all play and they all work and it's cool. So that's where emulation would beat out. Metal Slug. That's where emulation will beat out owning the system.
I have to definitely agree with that one because to me, there's something about having that arcade setup.
Right.
That it just changes the whole feel of a room and the gameplay.
True. Well, they are coming out with, they have come out with.
Walmart put some out, actually. Yeah.
The 3/4 size arcade.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the little tiny ones that are like.
No, those annoy me because if I get irritated, I can't throw the quarter one.
Yes,
but I can take that thing and chuck it.
Yes, but I heard the centipede one you can hack to play Pac-Man by only changing a dip switch.
There are people that have taken the what is it called again? The 3/4 scale arcade game. They put a RetroPie or they put or Odroid or Latte Panda, some kind of single board computer in it.
Right.
And it's got all the hardware right there. They just have to put that computer in there and do a few little adjusting, and they have a fully functioning, very nice looking ROM arcade machine.
While we're still on the subject of the classics and the flashbacks type stuff, the Sega Genesis from X Games that's preloaded and takes carts.
I have that.
Only problem is it sometimes doesn't take some of the carts.
Right.
And you can't 32X it.
I had the version that had the infrared wireless controllers. That was horrendous, but you could plug in the original controllers. Of course, now they make them now where they have their own. I think it's got like a short cord or something, and I have to cut it in half.
You were the wife.
You were the wife.
Girls, you're both pretty.
Now shut up.
The hell you say? So, have you seen the facial hair?
So while we're talking about this type of stuff, how about we talk about like the Retron 5 and the Yobos?
I know nothing about this.
You have gone, sir, past my video game knowledge.
They are above my...
They are reproduction hardware that are meant to take multiple cartridges.
Oh, I've seen those. I know what you're talking about now. I know what you're talking about.
But on the flip side of those, they can get expensive.
They can.
I think the newest Retron is running, what, a couple $100 for the new big pretty one?
What systems does it play?
Depends on the Retron you get.
Some of them play a little of everything.
I've seen those.
The Retron 5, if I recall, plays the Genesis, the Super Nintendo, the NES,
Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, and you can get actually a additional slot that sits into the Genesis slot to play Master Game Gear.
System and Game Gear.
It plays a little of everything. Cartridge.
Okay.
Except for the 64.
Well, now they do make one that does do 64 as well now.
Really?
If I remember right.
And you can still get a 64. Stop abusing our staff.
I'm sorry.
Read his shirt. Read his shirt. What's it say?
It says God Jesus. It says God Jesus. All right. No, let's Come
on camera.
Come on. Show everybody.
You are over 18, right?
He has the legal right to make his own decisions.
Stand in front of the
camera. Just step in front.
Got Jesus. Now turn around. It's hell without it. I kind of
Hey, come here and put your face in front of the camera. Say hi to everybody. That? Say hi to everybody on YouTube and Bitchute.
We found our not gay Jared.
Yeah, we really did, honestly, and I'd like to have him on more shoots. I think it would be fun. We've had a lot of fun. It has been handy. It has been very handy.
It's already paying enough to go pick you up.
But anyway, let's go ahead and do the middle segment. Now, usually we would do the Is It Necessary segment, but I changed it without them knowing. So this way it is pure 100%. They have no clue. But me and Mikey were actually talking about this last night, and I've got one hell of a question that I want to ask. And
I finally had you a good one for Is It Necessary?
You'll have to wait till next week. You will have to wait till next week because I found this idea of I want to start asking random questions, not just for these guys, but for you guys at home. And every now and again, we're going to switch it up. I want to continue doing Is It Necessary because it is a fun segment and it's enjoyable. And, you get to see some really cool, wacky products.
Yada, yada, yada.
Yada, yada, yada. But every now and again, I like to ask these really difficult questions that are really hard to answer. Okay. And so we're going to call this What Would You Do? So
it's not like kill or marry.
No. This is What Would You Do? So here's the question. And keep in mind there's a reward for 1 billion, 100% tax-free. You will get it kind of question. Okay? So this is what you're going in for. For $1 billion, tax-free, 100% yours, would you leave your significant other for 1 week without telling them? Now, keep in mind, this literally means, hey, babe, we're done, we're through, I'm out. And then after a week, you may reconcile. Would you actually do this for tax-free, nothing else, $1 billion with a B? Would you do this? And I'm going to start with you. Do you think that your wife would understand in the end that it was for the greater good and allow you to sleep on my couch for a week? Because in the end, that's kind of how it's going to end up. But I mean, would you do it? You have only little time to think about it.
She's not able to know.
You cannot call her up as soon as you say it and leave and be like, hey, babe, I mean, no contact for a week. You have to basically officially say that we're done. No explanation at all. You just have to say, I'm done, pack your shit and leave.
Realize, if there was a way to let her know, I would. Because she would probably be like, wait, how much? But after a week, her father would have done hunted me down, strung me up, and tortured me in ways that I would never recover from, emotionally or physically.
Well, you could probably tell him.
Could I tell him to avoid death if he does not tell her?
I'm going to go ahead and say no, and this is why. This is why, because he will tell her.
But at the same time, if your life is on the line, where's the line?
You don't have to take the money. There is a second option.
What's the second option?
Not taking the money and staying with who you are happily broke. I mean, could you see yourself just looking at your wife's face and going, babe, you know I love you, but we're done?
No.
And grabbing your shit and leaving, knowing that in a week you're going to have $1 billion in your bank account.
Able to do it in a way where it's like, look, I've got to disappear for a week. When I come back, we will never worry about money again. If I could do something that simple and disappear, yes.
Yeah, because that explains that you will have the chance to return. And the idea is you have to tell her you're done.
No.
Which is funny because I actually told my girlfriend I would leave her in a heartbeat, and she said, damn straight, I'd leave your ass in a heartbeat too. And I was like, thank you.
I would probably leave because, as soon as old Papa Fozzie comes rolling back up.
On a bright note, you can get her everything that she had ever wanted.
Mm-hmm.
On the plus side, it'd also be a break for the 6 kids.
He's like, hold up now. That might be a thing.
At that moment, he loved the idea.
So you would do it?
Probably.
No, he's like, do I want to sleep on the couch? So you would? I mean, all you can do is look her in the face.
See, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt I could come back, explain it to her, and she'd be like, okay. But I know how she would be.
She would be mad for a while.
For that week.
I don't know. She might be okay as long as you buy her some stuff. And
see, but you know my wife. You know that would not go good with her. Period.
I don't know. Honestly, in my opinion, I think she might forgive you. No, I'm saying I'm not saying she won't be mad.
If she makes it through the week.
I'm saying that she would forgive you.
Before or after I get her out of East Mississippi?
I think she would forgive. You can afford it. You would have $1 billion. You can afford all of this.
I don't know if my wife could handle the emotional trauma.
That's how I am.
That's the hard part.
For $1 billion.
Andrew, if you actually had somebody that gave it, would you do it?
Would you leave your parents?
Would you leave your parents' basement?
My parents don't have a basement.
Explains why you're homeless.
He's in denial. If he had a good enough car, he'd probably be living in it.
Oh.
I mean, would you do it?
The answer should be no. If you ever find a woman, you better stick with her. On the
flip side, my girl said I ought to.
On the flip side, if he came back with $1 billion, he wouldn't have to worry about finding a woman. They'd be going to him.
Exactly.
Just remember, prenup.
I mean, Andrew's already kind of unlucky in love.
Yeah.
Unlucky with love. So
he's looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
Yes, but if he became a multi-million / billionaire,
if you did find that one person who would put up with you and all your quirks.
Oh, she'd understand if she was able to put up with all that crap.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
no, she probably wouldn't be able to understand. She's like, I put up with his ignorant shit all the time, and he's just going to leave.
Well, see, like, to me, I would leave. I would leave in a heartbeat because I can come back and be like, babe, this is what happened. I was offered the chance, scot-free, tax-free, $1 billion to our bank account. And use the word "our." Be smart about it. Don't say my bank account. Say our bank account.
Oh, no, I'm splitting that shit.
And so she can't leave again. I want a prenup.
The trick is deposit half in a separate account. Look, I got $500 million, honey. I mean,
million.
500 million. You still gonna be comfortable?
Yeah.
But then you got another 500 million to do. Honey, I'm building a new house.
I could be comfortable with $1 million. I could be comfortable with $1 million.
I know. That's why I'm saying that's a lot of money. That's $1 billion.
I love y'all guys, but y'all would not see me for a long time.
Oh no!
I would be
y'all would see a lot of me.
My fat ass ever again. I'm gonna be hanging out with my
what
new
y'all
friends.
talking about? I'd have y'all all a new house in the middle of my new complex in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, I'd buy.
I'd go further. I'd go further. We would go on a long trip.
Oh yeah.
We would have a Viking
on my
commune.
private plane.
We'd have a Viking commune.
Forget
the private plane on our new Viking state-of-the-art yacht.
Ooh.
Viking themed.
I mean, what would be the first thing you bought with $1 billion? First, dead-on thing.
All of it.
Not paying bills.
All of it. I would buy all of it.
Off the house.
No. But I mean, you're going to do that naturally anyway. True. So let's just say the luxury thing that you would buy.
The first splurge item?
Yeah.
I'd buy a tank.
Just
for the shits and giggles of saying I have a tank. I would buy a tank.
I don't know what I would buy, but I would buy all of it.
See, me, I would just build a house. And then I would build other houses next to that house so these goofballs can live next to me.
I would pay this one off and then hire a team to come in and do all the itty-bitty piddling shit that needs to be done that's got added up to a list this
Yeah, I know.
And then build another room that's completely detached so you can completely steal from the kids.
And then I would put a bathroom off of the master bedroom.
With a kitchen, basically a small apartment off the side of the house, so that way he'd have somewhere private to
I've seen your house, honestly, with that type of money. Get you 100 acres and build something nice.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
A nice house. It needs
nicer.
I would start
less Winchester Mansion-y. Your house has more turns than any other house I've ever seen.
I would start Buffalo Ranch.
All I have to do is make one room slightly smaller, and it would all work out.
I would start Buffalo Ranch. You know what?
See, I would start a farm.
Name would
I would
be?
start a bunny
Fluffy.
ranch.
Fluffy.
No.
With the big sign that said, beware of Fluffy.
I mean, to me, I would straight up buy a lot of land and a house. All right, let's go ahead and move on to segment 3. Oh, boy. So, we're actually going to talk about a fun little subject that has kind of been debate over here lately. Do you consider loot boxes as a form of gambling?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Kind of. It depends on the game. If
Okay.
it's one of the loot boxes where you actually get money currency out of as well.
Let's go with Battlefront 2 situation.
I have no clue.
Okay, well, it kind of seemed like...
Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Yes.
Yeah, that was some real crap.
Yeah.
That was in a loot box?
Yeah, I went... That's one of the reasons I wouldn't touch an EA title anymore.
Sims I'll still touch, but that's about as far as
because they'll figure out a way to loot box that.
Yeah, they'll figure out a way.
But then you have the issue of other countries already outlawing and banning loot boxes.
This is true. There are a lot of companies, a lot of countries that have actually been...
Same difference.
Yeah.
That's for the other show, though.
That's for a different show. But no, a lot of these countries are outlawing loot boxes because they consider it a form of gambling. To me, I see where they're coming from, but at the same time, they knew what they were getting themselves into.
True.
You know what I mean? It's become a thing now to where everybody has loot boxes in video games. I hate them. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely hate them. Why Battlefield 1 even bothered putting them in is beyond me.
The biggest thing with me loot boxes is there's so many companies and so many games that you put your money in and you're getting a random thing.
Well, to me,
you might get like the best gun ever in one of these fighting games. You might get this little janky looking pistol.
Are you talking about those loot boxes, or are you talking about like loot crate boxes?
We're talking about the loot boxes in video games.
Oh,
in-game boxes.
In-game boxes.
Oh, that pay-to-win crap.
Yeah.
That's it's pointless.
That's why
you were thinking about the actual.
I was thinking about loot crate.
Yeah.
Loot crates. Now, see, I like loot crates.
Loot crates worth it.
Are awesome.
I think they're awesome.
But my thing is, you got so many new companies now that I love what they're doing. Bethesda is one of the biggest ones that's doing this now. That has said, online games from now on, if you do buy extra stuff, the actual spend real money on something in game, it's vanity only. It's a skin, it's a color, it's a scheme.
Right.
But
so you can pretty your character up.
Nothing that can affect how your character performs.
Well, the thing is you actually earn that from playing.
Bethesda, that is the only good idea they've ever had that they didn't steal from other people.
I mean,
we got more to talk about on that once we actually talk about that last segment.
Well, see, I got into one of those pay-to-win games. It was a mobile game.
Oh, yeah.
And it was horrible because you had wallet warriors that come in first time they ever played the game, leveled up in just a couple of weeks because they could buy everything they needed.
Thanks, GTA.
It was terrible. My castle would get overrun daily.
I'm a level 3, but I've got like the Mach 2. It's like,
I don't know how to use all these power-ups, but I have them.
Oh.
It's like, look at me, I'm super strong.
Mm-hmm.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about stuff like loot crate.
No. I'm talking about the actual loot boxes in-game that a lot of these companies have come to use, like Fortnite and things like that. It's just ridiculous gambling.
And don't forget the other half of this segment. Season passes.
Oh my God. I hate season passes. Why do I have to pay $60 for the game and then I have to pay $10, $15 to $20 so that way I can get the special stuff? I bought the game. Give me the flipping game.
Yeah. With certain games, I do see it coming off handy. Like, once again, I'm going back to one of my favorite companies, Bethesda, because the way they do their season passes, you're essentially getting all new games added on top of that game. I mean, God knows how many times it's been released now, but Skyrim, the DLCs on it essentially added on an all-new game on top of an all-new game every time.
Not the first one. The first one they ever put out was a horse armor.
Oh,
you spent $20 for horse armor.
Wait a minute, that was not Skyrim. I said Skyrim.
That was Oblivion.
That was Oblivion. That was Oblivion.
That was baby steps. They were learning.
That was terrible.
That was a horrible baby step. But then you get someone
baby step off a cliff.
But then again, you step back to say our favorite one to rip on today, Nintendo.
Yeah.
I turned around and bought Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Right.
With the system within the first week or so of it coming out. And I went ahead and got the season pass, which was supposed to come with 3 DLCs that were supposed to be amazing. Right. You got Trial of the Sword, which is a fun little add-on. I was like, okay, this is probably the okay one. Then you got the help me out, fat one.
There are 3 of those at the table. You need to be a little more specific.
What's bad is I'm the Zelda freak. My brain went dead.
And say, you know everything about Zelda.
Well, and then you got the Trials one. The Trials one was epic because it added a whole new big mission set.
Right.
But then we never got a third. It's been almost a year now and nothing. It's like, here's 1 and 2. By the way, we're calling it good and we're going to start working on the new one. It's like, wait a minute. I've got one of the original display pieces from GameStop, because I was like, well, hell, if I'm buying this, can I go ahead and have the case just to have it?
Considering we were the last people in there to buy it, because it was closing time. We were the last customers on the day it ended.
In between DLCs and loot boxes and season passes, what in the world happened? And this is me on a rant, so prepare yourself. Trigger warning. I hate having to do that.
Walking Dead.
I'm so sorry. No, but having these 3 things, after I've spent $60, $70, and yes, sometimes $100 for a game, and you have the gall to tell me that if I want to get this cool skin after spending lots and lots of money of my hard-earned cash that I've worked for and that other people have worked for, they have to spend their money so that way we can get this really cool armor that we see on the cover, that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Why do I have to spend an extra $20 for that piece of shit? I'm not going to. And you know what? It's things like this that's killing the gaming industry for me.
Well, another big counter-strike to the season passes. It's like you're paying to get it early. Because you know, like, okay, Breath of the Wild is already in the running for a Game of the Year edition. And you know when they release the Game of the Year edition, it's going to be a new cartridge with all the DLCs unlocked, ready to go.
Minus the one everybody paid for.
Yeah, minus the one that just didn't exist. Because I actually had to go back through and I looked it up just to be sure I remembered right about there's supposed to be 3. On that display case that talked about the season pass, it did say 3 DLCs. It actually had the number 3 for DLCs.
And they never released those 3 DLCs?
Never had a third.
Never had a third. They
Never
released
had a
1 and 2. They just
Don't
never
get me
released
wrong.
3.
The game itself is beautiful. It is epic. Whether you're playing handheld or
It
on
looked
nice big
beautiful.
TV,
I've always wanted to play it.
I've played through it a couple times. It is beautiful.
I may have to steal it from you somehow.
The degrading weapons is a pain in the butt, but hey. Little new
Well, it does add a little.
Yeah.
Well, they're adding realism more and more to
Yeah.
video games, which I personally enjoy.
I don't care because you give me a steel pipe to beat zombies with, I'm going to be able to hit a crap ton of zombies with that steel pipe a whole lot more than 15 times before it wears out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's certain little aspects that they're adding. When are they going to add that you have to add gas to your cars? I'm waiting for that to happen.
I'm waiting on it.
Do you think stuff like that, do you think they're going to go that far with it? Or do you think that maybe that's too far? Hold up. I know I'm headed to this mission, but I'm on E. And you got to pull over to the local 7-Eleven to actually get gas.
Well,
you have to go rob a hooker to get gas money.
You have to stop and get gas until our next segments.
Or you can just shoot the guy behind the counter and then, start it up yourself.
They're kind of warm on our next topic, Kyle.
What if, maybe, who knows? You know what? Let's jump to that because I'm feeling like we're going to have a lot more to say about that one.
True.
All right. Everybody else is doing it.
2 big games.
I guess we'll talk about it too. And if you haven't figured it out, then you haven't been paying attention.
Because nobody's listening.
Because nobody listens to us. We are actually going to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2 and Fallout 76.
Beta.
The beta.
Beta.
Now, we have had first impressions, Red Dead and Fallout, and we have been really looking into it. Now, the reality of the game, I love, especially with Red Dead. Now, I've only seen so much of Fallout, and I'm hoping to see more, obviously. But as for Red Dead, the reality inside of the game, it's pretty immersive.
Oh, entrails look amazing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I absolutely love that.
Entrails?
Entrails.
Like gutting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they added you really skin and
you have realistic looking intestines.
Oh, wow.
They actually went full out with this.
Tell them about the horse balls.
Oh, yes, the horse balls expand and contract according to the weather.
Are you serious?
Yes, they do it.
No, I mean, I'm not surprised that they do it. The point that kind of catches me is that you monitored it.
It is Rockstar.
Well, you ride a horse all freaking time. You're going to notice something a little different.
Yeah. So you sat around just looking at horse balls.
No.
It's like, oh, it's raining. Let me check my horse.
Oh, what's that meme? What time is it?
11:23. Wait.
We will have to put a patch to that video in the comment.
Well, wait.
Video.
Oh, that was a dry one. It's going to be good weather tomorrow.
Oh, God. But no. I'm really liking Red Dead Redemption. As a matter of fact, Red Dead Redemption in 3 days of its full release had grossed $725 million, according to Fox News. And that's saying something when Fox News gives a damn about a video game.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, last time they gave a damn about a video game, it was when Hillary Clinton was going on her rampage about San Andreas.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about all that.
We need to ban some in video games.
A lot of people are saying that this is actually going to hold up just like GTA 5 did. That it's going to last for the next 5 years. They're going to add add-ons to it for free, which I do like.
Really?
Well, I mean, that's what they did with GTA 5, if you think about it. They were constantly adding stuff, the lowrider stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
I got all that, and I didn't pay for it. It just showed up. Granted, now in-game, obviously, you have to buy it, obviously.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you don't have to go out and buy a shark card, which was GTA's, pay to win. But, I'm just curious. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's sometime this month they're actually going to drop online for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
Yeah, it's not active yet.
Yeah, it's not yet.
I might get into that.
It's just story mode and social mode.
I do like the idea though that you're going to be able to play poker.
Oh, I've been
with
playing
your friends.
I've been playing poker.
I mean,
oh wait, you meant the card game.
Yes, you're going to actually be able to play poker and take your friend's money, which is going to be a lot of fun. I see
a
lot of friendships.
Whorehouse in this game. Is there a functioning whorehouse in this game?
Well, I know there's saloons and what look like hookers, but I haven't used.
It'd be ladies of the night.
Yeah, he was too busy looking at horse balls to be able to tell you about that.
I'm not politically.
No, I've been more busy trying to rob
Speaking of political in Red Dead Redemption, how about this group that came out trying to say it was sexist
or racist?
It was the 1800s.
Well, here's my thing though. They made this big argument about it's so sexist because you're playing a masculine figure.
Yeah.
I love how I don't remember who it was I saw online mentioned it. And then pointed out the fact that there's a mission in the game where you actually help a bunch of old-timey feminists that are trying to push for their rights by driving their carriage and protecting them to getting them to the protest area.
Like,
it's
legit.
like, so this is somehow
it kind of shuts down the whole SJW arguments that they keep bringing up on video games.
So it's sexist even though your character winds up helping a group of feminists.
Well, it was like,
I've already played a mission where you actually had to keep one of the people from your camp. You go to town with a bunch of the ladies, and one of them, and a guy's trying to get with her.
Yeah, basically he smacks her around and tries to take abuse of her, and you actually stop it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I beat the crap out of the guy.
Yeah, you can go excessive with it, which I did like that as well. Like, if you have that one character you just hate that has done something that in real life, if you saw happening, you might go ham. Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, you can just keep going. The dude. I love it.
Oh, what's interesting was the hippie cult.
I haven't seen the hippie cult yet.
Oh, it's one of the side missions you can actually accept or deny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
hippie cult?
Yeah, basically hippie cult.
It's kind of like your house, James.
Are we ready to talk about the other beast in the room?
I am actually really interested to hear your side on this because I've only seen one video that lasted about an hour about this game. So I know you've got more inside, whereas Red Dead Redemption, I've seen over 10 hours of gameplay.
Yeah. Well, Fallout 76 is still in the beta phase. It doesn't release till, I think, the 14th of the month. And I went ahead, I pre-ordered, even though I'm not the biggest fan of pre-orders.
Yeah, I know. That's very rare for you.
They did push me into pre-ordering with the idea of getting to play beta. And then, of course, had to wait 6 months going, okay, when are we going to get to play the beta? Come on. Y'all are working on it. Finally, they had like the preliminaries where it's like big name YouTubers. It's like, hey, we're inviting you out here. Here's a Xbox 360 because that was the first thing they previewed it on.
Yeah.
Xbox One.
Xbox One. Whatever Xbox are up to. I'm not an Xboxers. Sorry, Microsoft. I'm a PlayStation and Switch guy.
And PC.
And PC when I can afford one.
Again.
But from what I played, it was actually it was a Fallout game.
Yeah.
True and blue. Now, it was a little weird because you get kicked out you leave the vault right in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I saw that.
And before you even leave the vault, there are a couple of things you can do that I'm not going to give away because plenty of YouTubers have.
Yeah.
But if you actually dig around in the vault, there is a computer terminal, R2, R3, you can access to pick up a little extra something.
So you found these little extra somethings.
Well,
I know what it's going to be.
I watched one of the
Just guessing. I know what it's going to be.
I watched one of the early beta people. One of my YouTubers I like following for Fallout stuff.
Yeah.
And he pointed out, check out the Overseer's office when you play in one of his videos. And I'm like,
So there's a hint.
So, of course, I checked it out, and I was like, this is a little extra something. Who would have thought? And so many people rush out the vault without actually exploring in depth. They've never really played Fallout. And so they went on the regular path, because it's offset. Yeah. You have to actually either have watched the video to see where it is, or you miss it. Because not everyone does what you're... In Fallout 4, you have to explore.
Always.
No matter what Fallout game you've ever played, explore whatever you can explore.
That's why I don't like them.
And they have made so many new places on here that would have been closed off before that are accessible. Like buildings that would have been closed up in the old games, you actually have open buildings.
Wow. So they're letting you enter each individual building now? Or is it just more than the last time?
From what I've seen, there are a lot more accessible buildings
than
there were in the old ones. There were a lot more what I call filler buildings.
Yeah,
like it's just a shell, just taking up space, looking okay.
Yeah, and then it's got like
there's
debris
a lot more in
this
one where you can actually go in. And some of them I've noticed are little ways you have to get up, around, under, through to get in, but it's part of the exploration.
I'm actually really curious to see how they're going to do the armor suit stuff.
They actually do. I have seen people in power armor. I looked, I could not find one. I was like, what the heck? This guy's too low. I made it to level 7 during 3.5, 4 hours of beta gameplay.
Right.
And I saw one guy that was a level or two above me had found one. And I wish I'd have had a keyboard so I could have been like, where did you find that? I want one.
Give me the coordinates.
I will go look. Now, on the flip side, I did do a little exploring on my own. Came across a couple of the little monsters that they have hidden around.
What did you run across? Because I would like to hear this.
There is a giant mutated bat. I cannot remember their official name for these monsters because it's
quick. Get the Ozzy Osbourne.
Which we're going to throw a little picture of it up post-production, but it is a mutated bat, and in the preview trailers, it looks like it's the size of a dragon.
Oh my god!
Wow!
Spoiler alert! It's the size of a dragon, and it has this epic sonic blast that when it hits, it just destroys.
Okay, you now need to find the scrolls and summon the dragons.
Wrong game. I came across it out of the blue. I was like behind a certain area, and I'm like, "What the hell was that in the sky?" And as it got closer, I'm like, "Oh shh!" So I bumped the little Pit Boy button, which they've changed that. They have nerfed the whole bat system.
Yeah, I do like that.
It doesn't slow down time, but it does highlight and target an enemy for you.
That's nice.
So it's like an auto aim.
So it doesn't affect the other players.
No.
Okay.
The gameplay stays live. All it does is auto target.
Because that would be annoying if you have like 4 people in your group and all of a sudden time slows down just before you get that clean shot that you know you can make. Oh.
But one of the things I do like about it is once you highlight something, it tells you the level.
Really?
And I was sitting up at level 5, level 6. This wasn't quite at the end of my gameplay.
Yeah.
I looked up, I hit the button. I'm like, how strong is this thing? I'm like, holy shit, it's level 50. I had already ran from a level 10 character earlier where I was like, okay, he's only double my level. Let me try it. Pow! And I'm like, yes, I'm just like barely moved. So when I see this thing flying above and it's level 50, I turn around and I looked around and I was like, there's a porta-john here. There's a porta-potty in this game. I clicked, the door open. I was in sneak mode this whole time where it wouldn't notice me. And I just backed in and closed the door and waited for it to get quiet. Because you can hear the whole oomph, oomph noise from the wings.
Oh, wow.
I waited in there for about 2 or 3 minutes till I didn't hear the flapping.
I can't believe I'm wasting my beta test on this.
I was like, if this thing finds me, it's going to kill me. I am sure of this. I do not see this thing having any problem.
It's more like one swoop, poof, start over.
And then, of course, did a little more exploring, and I saw, what they call it, the Beast of Greenwich? Gunwich? Something like that?
Greenwich.
It sounds about right.
Like
Have you ever played Fallout?
No, I just know Greenwich, Connecticut.
It's like another variation on the super mutant behemoth. It looks like it has no head. It is creepy as hell. I saw it at a distance. It said something about the parade through town.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, let me go to the location spot. And I came in, and I'm like, there's a parade with this thing walking through town.
No.
Once again, I hit the little Pit Boy button out of curiosity. Level 50. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to watch this event because when you go to the events, you do get items. Some of the best weapons I got in the game was where I just participated in an event. Well, I might have found a little loophole on one event. I didn't know it, but I wanted to see if it'd work. Someone else had started an event that had droves of like, I think it was 10, 20 of the scorched, as they call them.
Yeah.
It's like a step between raiders and ghouls. They're starting to decay, but they can still use guns, and you do hear them talk from time to time, which is kind of creepy.
Ooh.
You hear them talking off and on, like, where go?
What do you think about the new PvP
I was going to get to that
situation? I mean, I wanted to go ahead and kind of move that forward.
Well, I wanted to mention the rest of my little accidental
thing. Keep going.
I turned around, and they had this event where it was 5 groups of these things coming in one after another.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing something else in a building in the same proximity, and I noticed that the event was staying up and the character cycles were going. I was like, wait a minute, how am I on round 5 when I hadn't killed any of these things? And I heard the gunshots and all from outside. More powerful players were around the corner actually doing the mission, and I was within the bubble it took place.
So you got the experience?
I got the little XP from it, and they drop these big crates.
Yeah.
At the end of certain events.
Yeah.
That have items in it. And it's one of those situations where it's not this one player can get everything out and it's empty.
Yeah.
Everyone gets
the same
thing.
Oh, that's nice.
And so I went over to it and I'm like, click. And I'm like, wait a minute now. These guys just left the area. Did they not want anything out of this box? I had to turn around and look it up later and found out about that detail.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
So me killing 2 or 3 of them last second, it automatically let me have the same stuff they got.
So basically, if all 4 of us were playing and we did in an event, we would all get the same stuff. Now, I did hear rumor that certain things will change.
I think it's level-based.
Is it level-based?
Bethesda is known for having level-based item giving.
See, I didn't know if they actually announced how that worked, but I had heard rumors that
they have been notorious for years on their games for if you're starting out level 2 and you open a box, the same stuff that's in that box at level 2 is not going to be what's in that box at level 50.
Yeah.
It scales with, just like a lot of the bad guys scale with your level. Now, one of the things I hadn't got a chance to test because I really needed to find someone who was much higher than me and me much lower or vice versa, was I was curious about the bad guy system. If you go in and you got this low player and a high player coming in on the same guy, what level is he? Because I'm not sure how they're doing that. Player. And maybe whoever gets there first, too.
That is true.
I am curious how they're doing that.
That would have to be something that we would have to test eventually.
And which thing was it you asked about? The
PvP, the player versus player incident. Now, I heard that they have changed or made it to where you can't kill somebody without punishment or repercussions.
I didn't get close enough to actually see what the actual effects were on the person, but I did notice when I was playing, someone did PK. Someone did player kill.
Yeah.
And it lit up a red dot on the map. Everybody else is lit up as little yellow dots. Theirs came up as a big red dot with their level number. And it threw up an icon. This person is now, I think it was wanted or something like that. And there is a reward for if you can kill that person.
So if you can sneak the last shot in, you get a reward.
Not sure on that one.
Ooh. I don't know. I'd have to go for it. You never know. I do like the fact that they're actually setting up to where you can't have, because that was something I hated about GTA, especially when I started out, and I started out a little late. I ended up getting mobbed by people that were higher levels than me, like in the hundreds, and I'm sitting here level 1, I can barely do anything. I've got a pistol and a cheapy card in my name, and they were just mauling the hell out of me no matter what I did. And it seems like now they fixed that problem. For people who have pre-ordered, you don't, if you're coming in at Christmas, it's not something you really have to worry about. So it gives you a chance to survive.
Well, the way they have it set up now is you cannot be killed until you are at least level 5 by another player character. Now, if you come across a pack of the Scorched or a Behemoth or something like that, your ass is grass.
Yeah.
But other players cannot kill you till level 5.
See, that's a nice setup, and I really like the idea of that, but at the same time, I see that being irritating because you're going to get that one person that you really want to kill. And I've had that so many times. It gives you
enough time to establish a lot of little goodies, a couple good weapons. Because at level 7, I've already got a couple really nice weapons where partially, participating in events and just following the story.
Right.
Because I kind of followed the story, I kind of tore off. I actually set up the little... You don't have the places to build like you used to.
Yeah.
You have this little mechanism, you set down and you get a certain bubble around it, and you build your area there.
My question is...
You can actually pack it up and move it.
My question is how many people are going to cheat the bounty system as a group by having one of them kill and then...
I had that same wonder because I'm wondering if they don't have it set up to where if it's a teammate, it doesn't do it. From what I understand. There's some little loophole. They've been thinking about that type of stuff a lot.
Because that's something that me and my friends do, especially on GTA, is every now and again, I'm just like, hey, dude, what? Bam! It's just every now and again you kind of, it's that gotcha moment, It's like you should have been paying attention. But I don't know. To me, I feel like they're finding ways to fix it.
Yeah.
And it's so simple, it's stupid. That's what gets me. It's so simple that it's stupid. So I'm really kind of excited for the game. I like Fallout games, especially Fallout New Vegas. I fell in love with that. The newer one was okay. I mean,
took getting used to.
It really did take some getting used to.
As far as difficulty, they don't have your difficulty selection like they have on the past ones. Where the harder the difficulty, the more things go. I forgot to check carry weight on ammo. I forgot to check that one. But your scrap, from what I can tell, if you get like a whole mess full of stuff, you can go to a bench and actually do scrap all.
Yeah.
So all the fans and stuff get broke down in their bare components, and it didn't look like it weighed anything. That's because I picked up nearly 300 pounds worth of steel at one point. Was walking around like, okay, I got these dumbbells. Yes, it was a gym I raided full of workout equipment.
Plenty of raw metal there.
I turned around, walked around until I found a bench and scrapped it all, and all of a sudden my weight went down back to where I almost had nothing.
Huh.
So I'm like, okay, so scrap often.
Well, who knows? They might fix that later down the line.
Well, at the same time, once you get your little base thing set up, you can dump extras in it.
Okay.
All your junk stuff. Now,
and doesn't it go from place to place as well?
You can transport it. It does cost a few in-game currency caps to do
Caps, yeah.
That's just like if you fast travel to certain locations, it does cost caps.
Do you think, and I know this is kind of off subject, but we were talking about caps. Do you think somebody else is going to pay in caps? For those that don't know, there's an actual story that happened with the last game, and somebody actually sent them caps. Not beer caps, but soda caps. And they sent what would be considered the currency in-game for the video game. And Fallout loved it so much. They thought it was so funny, they actually sent him back a copy of the game. And I thought that is hysterical.
They did say that they would not do that again. Okay. That was a one-off because they loved it. It was an original idea. I mean, you see the photo. I saw the photos. It was like a big box full of caps.
It really was. It was huge.
It was brilliant.
Could you imagine him sitting around drinking soda and going, I'm going to send every single one of these.
And doing the math to make sure it was right.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That would be insane.
Well, someone actually did the math on it and figured out he actually overpaid. Someone actually did the math based off of...
They should have sent them the deluxe
Here was the
version.
flaw. If I remember right, he did it based off New Vegas. New Vegas was Obsidian, not Bethesda.
Yeah.
Based off Fallout 3, he overpaid a little.
Okay, well...
So based on one of their games, he apparently overpaid.
I mean, that's still a pretty cool idea.
But it's still a cool idea, yeah.
I give props to this man. I can't remember his name and the story because it's been like 2, 3, 4 years since that came out. But it was by far one of the funniest
Now,
things.
as far as breaking lore and all that, there's other YouTubers that go into depth on the lore-breaking stuff or potential lore-breaking, but you do have your super mutants. You do have Brotherhood of Steel has been mentioned. I hadn't seen any, but they've been mentioned.
I believe they haven't been put in yet.
But that's one of those lore things that a lot of people are going, oh, this breaks the lore of the game. Why would they be here?
Taking the whole conversation,
pretty much.
Well, I mean, he's the one that actually played it. I mean, so it makes sense. But
not like him playing Red Dead. It's like, I mean, if anybody else knows anything about it,
I definitely know a lot about it because I sat down and I watched 10 hours of gameplay. If you haven't seen him or ever heard of him, I actually watched H2O Delirious, who is a YouTuber, and he's playing the entire game as far as I can tell.
We'll have to link him.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to link him.
The one I originally watched was Oxhorn.
Really?
Which he does a lot of YouTube Fallout videos and does a lot of lore stuff. And he was the one that I'm like, oh, early beta. But the thing I liked about his, though, is unlike a lot of the others that were doing the group thing, he tore off on his own.
Nice.
Which is kind of what I did. I didn't even try to get in a group. I was like, I even did a little trading with another character just to see how it kind of went.
Yeah.
It's a learning curve.
I mean, all in all, these are two great games. Most of the sales we obviously know are going to happen during Christmas. So, and Red Dead is already doing killer. Yeah. I mean, just absolutely killer. I mean,
by the way, somehow, some way, y'all three also need to get Fallout 76, so I can have a team of 4.
I mean, $725 million.
It's only what, 80 gigs?
I'm talking about gameplay time.
He doesn't want to spend the time to actually play a different game that doesn't involve zombies.
Well, now you do have zombie-ish things, the ghouls.
He has a point.
You know what? I'm wanting to play Call of Duty 4. That's me. That's me all day. Call of Duty 4. Right there.
No.
That's right.
No.
The thing that gets me
That
on
man called
those,
it.
the thing that gets me on those is you're stuck in a house. You're trying to keep them out.
I'm not talking about the zombie issue of it. I just like those games.
You like owning noobs.
I like run and gun.
Yeah, I do like running.
You can do that in Fallout.
You can do that in Fallout.
That's my Twitch handle is run and gun.
Look, my first 5 levels I went through with just a machete.
Sweet.
I killed with nothing but a machete because the early guns are the little pipe pistols that suck.
That everybody hates.
I was sitting up there, tow. I'm like, why the fuck ain't this going? I switched over to the machete. Bam! I'm like, okay, I'm sticking with the machete.
West Virginia. There should be like tons of good guns. I mean, it's not like Boston.
You get to them.
It's not like Boston where you would have had crappy guns that were made.
That's actually their kind of motto song for this one. That's
I know. I know we can't sing it because of copyright, but it just kind of crossed my mind.
John Denver, can we have permission?
Take me home.
Copyright.
Only after so long.
Anyway,
contacting John Denver.
Contacting John Denver now.
He's saying country roads take me home, but
apparently he knows what he's talking about. Anyway, that's the show for today, guys. Honestly, this has been a lot of fun being able to talk about video games. I mean, we've done a lot of comic books. We've done a lot of movies. Now we're doing video games. We're going to have to top the next episode.
Time to start mashing it all up.
It's time to mash it all together and make it epic. And Christmas is around the corner because nobody pays attention to poor Thanksgiving.
Stay tuned for that epic Christmas one.
Oh, what was absolutely funny, Jacksepticeye actually tweeted out, he said, checking calendar, Merry Christmas. And I was like, oh my God. And this was like the day after Halloween. I'm sorry, but that does make a lot of sense because in today's society especially, they immediately start putting up the Christmas decorations. They immediately start selling all the Christmas stuff. Yeah. And it's like Thanksgiving has now turned into Black Friday.
It is.
That's all it is. It's one entire month of Black Friday. That's all it is.
Now people give thanks to fake savings.
Basically, yeah.
Fake savings.
And that's what it's turned into. And it's sad because Thanksgiving to me was always a great time. I enjoyed Thanksgiving. We were able to sit down with family, talk.
I don't like most of my family.
That's why right there. That is why. Now that I think about it.
I get a whole week.
It used to be you had to remember to thanks for giving before you got.
Yeah. And that's
I like my parents and I like my kids and wife. That's the only family I like. And grandpa and my grandpa.
I shouldn't say you like me.
I'm talking about people that I'm blood related to.
You might as well be to us.
Yeah.
We all claim each other.
You're stuck with us.
You know what I mean.
Yep. Alex can't reach this far.
Stop touching me. Why? Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, don't be afraid to share it out with people, especially people that have the same kind of mindset. Yes. We're trying to grow. We've got the lights set up. We've got the camera. We just got to fidget with it a little bit.
Camera, but we got to work with it.
Yeah, we got to work with it just a little bit.
Remember, folks, it's a learning curve.
We're all learning this from nothing. Like, to be honest with you, I mean, we already knew how to do the editing and all that stuff. The rest is just us trying to figure out what our identity is. And not the 2018 kind of way, just the YouTube.
I'm a non-binary YouTube blogger.
I mean, we make fun of everybody. Everybody is a target. So, to me, you can't do that. It's 2018. That's hate speech. But to me, honestly, this is by far going to be one of the best shows that we've ever done.
Huh? Anyway, we're not monetized anyway. We're too new.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter. Can you pull up our name cards so that way people can actually see? Thank you. You can also go to our individual Twitter and talk to us individually. If you have any ideas for the show, obviously you can contact us three. Don't bother with Andrew. He doesn't really like Twitter, even though he has one. And that's pretty much it. You can also go check us out at what is it? It's JAK Teams on Twitter. Isn't it JAK?
We'll cover the card.
Yeah, we'll put a thing up on yeah. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. Don't forget to like and share. Please comment down below. We would love to hear from you guys. Any references we've made. Good luck, James, but he has to put them down below. And we love you guys. Have a lovely night. My name is Kyle the Irishman Morrow. I have
Alex Batman Gregory.
Right next to me is
James.
And nobody cares about
Andrew.
And we love you guys. We're JAK Productions, and you've been watching Nobody Listening.